These construction projects are like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're gonna get. And this week we found massive structural cracks in the south wall and down the center of the building. But yet it still felt like we had some huge wins. Hi, I'm Andrew, and I'm transforming this 1970s office building into Superstay's newest residential style boutique hotel, A12. Let me show you what we're doing. With this A12 project, I've got everything on the line. 12 months to complete it, and I've promised the city that I'll bring group-oriented hospitality to this neighborhood. We're 4 weeks into this project, and we've got 95% of the architectural demo complete at this point. The second floor is almost fully completely done, and first floor, they just have a little bit of carpet to pull up and the floors to clean. Our 8-person crew has been working really hard at getting this place cleaned out. They're here every day from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. The main thing we still need is a building permit. We're still waiting for the city. They're a little slow. They've asked us for a couple of small things in order to get the permit to us. We've responded to the city with what we need. Once the demo crew got finished on the second and first floor this week, they used the second half of Thursday and all of Friday to start taking out this fencing down here in the basement. It's our plan to save the poles and the hardware so that we can reuse it outside with a couple of the poles that need to be replaced out in the parking lot. The mesh doesn't make sense to keep. It's too tall. It'll be too labor intensive to cut down. We'll just buy a new roll if we need it and replace that. Our biggest discovery this week was this giant crack. When the guys were doing the demo, they were pulling out the drywall and the ceilings in here. They happened to hit previous crack that had been attempted to be repaired, but was not repaired very well. And in the process of taking out the drywall, they actually took out a chunk of it. One of the questions that came up is, what are these drips coming down the support beams? And Steve, our general contractor, thought that it was resin where they had tried to inject it in the crack when they were building the property originally in 1970, and it just wasn't repaired very well. And they tried to kind of maybe cover it up with some insulation, like looks like JB Weld, and just move along. It's in another spot. So both of these spots are gonna have to be looked at by the structural engineer. The most likely fix is a metal support beam, which we can hide in the walls because there's drywall in this section. This week, they kind of took a different method than upstairs. It was a little easier for them to take the walls down, so they cut all the studs across the top that were connected to the concrete tees that we keep referencing. And after they made that cut, they then cut big sections down to the floor, and they would just push the wall over. It was pretty cool to watch them basically lay down room after room after room, and it didn't take them as long to lay down this entire floor as it did upstairs. It was definitely a giant gut punch this week to find the cracks in the center supports of the building, and then also to find cracks like this after we took the drywall off. Originally, the structural engineer wanted to come in and build a whole new wall down all 150 feet of the south wall of the building where we're supposed to be putting windows in, and we still haven't even talked to him about the supports down the center. But during that conversation, I kind of about puked when he said, build another wall. And I asked, is that completely unnecessary? And he said, well, no, that would be way overkill. And I said, okay, well, what would be like the right level of, fixing this so it doesn't get any worse? And he wants to put like a 4-foot bar in on either side of these cracks and then mortar that bar back in so the cracks don't move anymore. So that seems reasonable. I think it'll look really cool with the repairs and really play into the authenticity of the industrial look we're going for. Our structural engineer and the guys from the shoring company came in together, and they determined that the concrete tees here needed to be supported in order to take these walls down. So the shoring company is going to come in with a metal beam and some metal poles and make sure that all the weight of these concrete tees is off this wall. The structural engineer was happy to give the demo crew 3 feet of working space to get these walls down and out. He thought that everything was strong enough and they could support it well enough. The crews will start in the basement with the steel across the bottom of the concrete tees and the metal poles supporting it, and they'll work their way up to the first floor and then the second floor. Once the demo crew gets to the second floor, they will begin doing the demolition of the walls. Our flooring dilemma continued this week, and we actually had somebody come out from a flooring company and take a look, and we explained to them what we wanted to do, and they thought the idea was pretty cool and think they can accomplish it for us. The plan is for James to come out and do 3 or 4 test sections in the building this weekend, and I'm hoping to grab some shots and put them back in while I'm editing this over the weekend. James's goal this weekend is to see how much he can clean the floors and get the glue where the carpets are up as much as possible to expose the original troweling in the floor from the tiles that were here, as well as where the track laid, any other walking paths that were kind of put in the building that show the character and explain the story of the building. Our electrician's main job foreman, Sean DeWeese, came this week. Shout out Cincinnati Reds baseball fans, he's a big one. He came to figure out how we're gonna put temporary lights and power in the building. Sean DeWeese's plan for lighting and power on each floor is to put 1 panel out of the way and then 3 main large panel lights on each floor to light it for the entirety of the project. He's also gonna put 1 large panel light in the stairwell to keep that lit. We're gonna find a way to route our satellite dish up to the roof and then put our router inside so that it doesn't get ruined by the elements. I wanted to do something nice for the demo crew that's been here for almost a month. They've been working really hard. They've been cool with me filming them. You've seen them in these videos. I asked them on Wednesday what they wanted for breakfast on Friday, and the consensus from the crew was pancakes. I was a bit surprised by that. I thought they were gonna say like breakfast burritos or breakfast sandwiches, something simple. They wanted pancakes. So I delivered pancakes on Friday with my son. 10 sets of pancakes, eggs and bacon, and they had a blast. We all had fun. Our framing and drywall company is also coming next week to lay down chalk lines to show us where the walls are gonna go so that we can give the final approval that that's actually where we want the walls. I already know there's a couple of walls like in the basement that I wanna move because we're saving those large shelves that are in the basement, and we're gonna use those as linen shelves. Another big thing we'll be looking at when the chalk lines for the walls are laid down are where are the toilets going to fall? And we wanna make sure they don't fall on a concrete tee and they fall in between the concrete tees. So a toilet can't be moved, and so the wall behind the toilet will have to be moved in order to get that toilet placed in the correct spot. And next week, I'm really hoping to bring you a final solution for the floors. I wanna show you the sample areas that he did, how those turned out, and how we're actually gonna handle the situation. Are we gonna do flooring, or are we gonna leave the concrete? I want some feedback about how we're doing. Are you liking the videos? Are you liking the format? Do we need to do something different? What do you wanna see? Are we bringing enough context? Just let me know. Leave me some comments, give me some feedback. We wanna improve these as best we can and keep bringing you things that you wanna watch on a weekly basis. See you soon, like and subscribe. Bring another one for week 5 next week. Number what?
Progress down here from Thursday.
Mostly that over there. They cut one of the power lines today with it locked.
Oh.
In a box, they cut the lock on a box, opened it up and cut the line.
Oh.
So Sean was like, and they got those out.
Oh yeah, I am those.
Okay, so whoa, big yawn from the camera girl. Okay, so
That was the most energy you've had in a while.
my low energy.
I don't know, but that one just seemed extra.
Extra.